It's a blustery day in Utah, but it's also kind of a spring-like day. Sun is shining even though the wind is blowing, and we've had tons of rain lately. So it's time to cut the grass. But before I cut the grass, I have to record this promo for the newest episode of the Energy is Love podcast. Thanks everybody for listening. Thank you for tuning in and subscribing. If you ever have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. We love when we get feedback on the podcast. The simplest way is just to reach out through the website, energyislovepodcast.com. Today's episode is brought to you by the Refinery Barbershop. The Refinery Barbershop is located in Springville, Utah, and happens to be one of Utah's premier barbershops. It is a great place to get your beard trimmed, to get a straight razor shave, to get a haircut, hot towels. It's the whole 9 yards. One of the unique things about the Refinery Barbershop is the environment that they create there. It is a space that is incredibly conducive to relaxing, opening up, connecting, and communication, which are all things that we absolutely love. So if you haven't yet, go to our website. You can click on the sponsors tab, find their information there, go to Facebook, give their page a like, and then of course, drop in and get a haircut or get your beard trimmed. And then tell them that you heard about them on the Energy is Love podcast. So this was surprisingly a very difficult episode for us to record. I didn't think it was going to be difficult, but it turned out when we actually sat down and pushed record, we really struggled to discuss this topic of discussion. We really struggled in sharing this thing that we did during the month of March. We talk all about it obviously in the episode, but to give you a little bit of an idea, right at the beginning of the month, I had this harebrained idea that Steph and I should abstain from sex for a month. After thinking about it for all of like 30 seconds, which I probably should have spent a little bit more time, I told her. She immediately thought I was an asshole and was not on board in the beginning, or on board begrudgingly, I should say. But that's what we did. We spent the entire month of March sex-free, and it was amazing. It was absolutely incredible. Like I said, it was kind of difficult to share the experience because there's parts of it that we didn't want to share simply because of some of the specialness that we both experienced and shared. But we do try to be as open, as honest as possible what this experience was like, as well as why you should or shouldn't potentially try it in your own relationship. Hope you guys enjoy. Here we go. Another wonderful episode of the Energy is Love podcast with Steph and Craig. I think this one is called March Madness. Here we go.
You're listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is Love.
The Energy is the Love podcast.
The Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is Love.
The Energy is Love podcast.
The podcast for the universe.
The Energy is Love podcast.
Did you hit record? You did. I'm sorry. You're going to hear that shaky.
Don't be sorry. Just the beginning. Phone off? Muted?
No. What fun would that be if I didn't have a go off during the podcast? I think that's our tradition.
Super good smoothie, babe.
Oh, you mentioned me in a story. Is it the story where you're claiming, what did you say? I have to look. Oh, you gave me, is it because I gave you sass?
No, it was my plan all along. Mm-hmm. Mad props to the juice blender.
I am a juice blender.
The blender of juices.
I don't have anything funny to say. I was trying. I'm super loud today in my ears.
You want me to turn down a little bit?
I feel like I have to whisper and it's still loud.
There we go. And turn it down a little bit.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel like I can kind of talk at my regular volume.
Yeah. Don't come around and talk into the front of the mic.
Is that what I'm doing?
Yeah. You're coming around to swing around and talk.
Hey.
To it. Yeah.
Meet you on the flip side.
If anything, come around to the other side and talk across it. What?
Nothing.
Okay. Bum, 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 bum. So we're both uncomfortable and nervous.
Yeah.
Why do you think?
I'm not going to say. I think it's because we're going to talk, like, I remember what you said you wanted to talk about. And I'm like, really? That's what we're going to talk about? So I don't know what we're going to talk about. I don't know how. I'm going to follow your lead on this because I don't. When we get into this space and like, you're like, hey, let's hit record. I feel like I say more than I originally planned on. And I feel like you said that there are things that we're not going to talk about, and you never told me what those were. So I'm not going to start if that's where we're going. Like, I'm okay if you have a different direction. We don't talk about this, leave a Barb on a cliffhanger and never know. I'm okay with that. But if you want to, I'm not starting any of it because I don't know what parts you were going to leave out and what parts you weren't. So I have an idea, but I don't know all of them.
Well, are you okay with talking about it?
Well, I'm super comfortable. I don't know if you've noticed.
Like, truthfully and honestly.
I don't know.
Podcast aside, are you okay talking about this on the podcast?
Yeah, I guess.
That's your go-to indication of super fucking uncomfortable, don't feel good, I'm going to reach up and itch my neck.
Well, you're playing with cards, so what's that say about you? Yeah, I'm super uncomfortable. Super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's something I'll get into the flow of, or if it'll be like, hey, maybe it's time we segue into another topic.
Yeah.
But right now, like, I'm super uncomfortable, but I'm not super opposed.
Okay.
I'm a super. Everything I say is super.
Super.
What is that Lego song? Everything is awesome.
I don't know.
You know,
From the Lego
movie?
movies?
Everything is awesome. You don't remember that?
No.
Thank
Is
you.
it from all the Lego movies?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just the first one. How many Lego movies are they?
There's a ton. I think I've seen 2.
Are they
maybe-
called the
maybe
Lego
1.
movies?
It's usually like Batman, the Lego movie, or
I think it's just the Lego movie.
it could just be okay.
I don't know.
We're about to get sidetracked into Legos.
Vox Lux and Lego movie. Here we go. I'll talk about anything right now other than what you want to talk about. So I have this Diego ball in my hand.
So
Jake. And
last
the
week's
Lamb
episode,
Pirates, not Diego.
yeah, they're making a live action not Luna,
Dora?
Dora.
Really?
Dora, yeah.
Stevie watched that so much.
I know, so did Gwenna.
I kind of want to go see it. Can we take them? Do you
Sure.
think they'll go?
No, but we can definitely try.
Make them go?
Yeah. Okay. Last week's episode, at the end of last week's episode, we teased. We had a teaser for this week's episode, which is now what we are sitting down to record a week later. And yeah,
Has it only been a week?
It's been about a week since we recorded last.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you just going to squirrel every opportunity?
I'm sorry. I'm super nervous.
It's okay. I'm nervous too now.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I was all excited to talk about this, and now I'm all super nervous to talk about it.
It feels pretty private. Like, I'm
It does
kind
feel
of sad.
pretty private. Maybe we just give him the cliff notes and then move on. Silence. We probably should have had this conversation not recorded for a podcast.
Huh. You could always edit this part out.
You know I won't, though.
I know.
I very rarely edit anything out other than...
What if I just start burping?
Oh, you can definitely do that. No, don't start burping. So, episode back in the day, not very long ago, a couple episodes back, we had Steven Roccazella on the podcast. Great guy, great episode. We had a really, really good time. And Steven, after we were done recording, we continued to talk for a little bit and hang out together. And in the conversation, after talking with him and talking during the podcast and talking with him afterwards, I had this thought that occurred to me, this idea that popped into my head that I threw out to you, beautiful wife, and you so elegantly, beautifully, wonderfully caught it and said, smash this motherfucker. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. No. So
So you're crazy.
yeah, I had the idea that you and I should abstain from sex consciously, choosing like this is the thing that we're going to do for the month of March is we are going to abstain from sex. That was the idea. Initially, it seemed like a wonderful idea. in my head when I initially had the idea. And then as soon as I kind of spoke it to you and thought more about it, I was like, oh, this was a terrible idea. What was I thinking? I should not have even shared this idea with you. But fast forward now to a month later, we are into April and we finished out March Madness on strong. We finished out strong. We did a wonderful job. So we did it. We did an entire month of no sex, abstaining from all sorts of sexual stuff that we just abstained from sex. And you and I didn't have sex for the entire month. And you look at weird now.
No, keep going. I'm just listening.
Just listening.
I look weird. Thank you. That's why he didn't want to have sex with me. It's like,
Gave me
there's
a
something
weird
wrong with your
look.
face, baby.
So that was the idea. And I didn't know why I had the idea. I didn't know. I mean, it kind of stemmed from a conversation with Stephen and the conversations that we had during that podcast. He did something similar in his own life to some degree. And he was really kind of touting the benefits of not having to worry about sex and not having to deal with this is so fucking hard, Steph. I'm doing a terrible job. I'm super fucking nervous talking about this. I don't want to upset you. I don't want to trigger you or piss you off. Okay. So it stemmed from that conversation, and I thought it would be a good idea. And it turned out to be an absolutely incredible, amazing experience over the course of March that you and I shared together. And it was amazing. And all it took was not having sex. It took more than that. We definitely had to show up. But we picked the perfect month.
Retrograde, yeah.
Because, it was Mercury retrograde.
Mm-hmm.
I was home the entire month. I didn't have any...
super beneficial.
I didn't have any traveling. So we didn't get to cheat by not being in the same space at the same time. You and I were in the same space all of the time. You look so fucking angry at me. I'm going to close my eyes and continue to talk. So, share, please.
No,
speak.
you need to finish. I'm looking away.
I don't know what else. I'm rambling because I'm super uncomfortable.
Well, to listen to you describe it makes me want to be like, oh, okay. Like I kind of want to look at you and be like, okay, is that just nerves? Like, do you need a do-over or is that your take on it?
No, I'm very nervous.
Because, the way you're describing it makes me feel like shit. I'm like, oh, guess what? We just hope you enjoy the couple of days of April because this shit just got extended.
Yeah. No, I'm very, very uncomfortable right now trying to talk about this. There's a part of this that I don't want to talk about. Like I was saying, and we should have had the conversation beforehand, but now
that would have been beneficial.
I know your husband's not smart all the time.
Yes, he is.
Not all the time. There's a big part of this that I don't want to discuss. I don't want to share on a podcast.
Well,
because
then why are we talking? Because
I think that there's benefit to it. I think that there's benefit to the idea of this experiment that we did. And I want to share that with the people listening so that maybe it sparks, not necessarily that they have to abstain from sex, but by consciously choosing something different, by consciously choosing to go without, by consciously choosing, the opposite of what you've been doing, sometimes can spark incredible things that you had never even thought of.
Okay, that's a little better. I guess I'll throw in whatever. It was not something I was interested in. Well, maybe if I had more experience with structures like this the last month, I would know how to speak into one. But since I didn't have something like this in my face, anyways, moving on. I was not excited about it at all. It was like complete panic, but that also brought out reasons of like how much I feel like, I'm going to say like, obviously, I enjoy sex with you. I enjoy all of the wonderful things that we do. But there is also a point that is very much hi, Harley.
I don't know if they've ever heard the cat on the podcast
I know.
before.
He's making his debut. This is Harley.
He better leave right now.
I think he is. He's actually sitting kind of behind you. I would love him to jump on you right now. It would make me so happy. Like obligatory? That's not the word.
Obligatory?
Obligatory? That's the word. See, this is why he doesn't edit, because if he was a nice, considerate, he would edit out the words that make me sound like a dumbass. And be like, oh, look at how mellifluous she is. Ha ha. And gets all of her words right. Now I create and say them wrong, because that's how it goes. Anyways, okay, now I'm getting nervous. I'm like, I know what to say. What are you doing struggling over there? I know what to say. I felt like it was my job too. Like, a good wife is like always ready to go. Like, I felt like I was keeping my husband happy by always. But I enjoy it too. So it's like, yeah, there was times that, I don't know, maybe it wasn't quite as, but I always got there, It was just something so that brought that up, is like, oh, maybe there's times that I really don't want to, because
don't want to have sex.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I never
speak up in those moments.
Well, and that makes it sound like, that leaves a lot of room for misinterpretation right there. And that is not the case. So it's not like, I didn't want to ever get into a rut to where I would give you excuses about, oh, I have a headache or not. And just like the common stories that you hear in marriage, you don't have sex. I didn't ever want to get into that kind of rut. I like our sex life. I want to keep it going. And I thought that if I started to, oh, I kind of don't feel like it right now, that would just like multiply. So I was always in the, yeah, I'll get into it in a minute. And I always would. It was never like, I don't know. It just felt like it was, you got to keep practicing. Even on the days that maybe you don't want to practice, you still really enjoy the piano. So you're going to practice it on days that maybe you really don't want to play it.
I think that's super common, babe. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of people in a long-term relationship experience that. Both men and women.
Yeah. Well, I like our sex life, and I didn't want it to go away. So I was pretty pissed off, because now I'm thinking, oh, okay, this isn't going to work. If I'm not able to provide this for you, you're not going to be satisfied, and therefore our marriage is going to fall apart. Like, the pressure that was on me I put on me.
And when you say not able to provide this for me, the whole stretch of not having sex for the month, right? That's the thing that you're talking about? No,
even though it was your idea to not have sex, which made me feel super wanted. Like, oh, I felt so pretty. Oh my gosh. My husband doesn't want to have sex with me. I'm a lucky girl. Like, I felt, even though it was your idea, that still I was going to be punished for not be able to do that. For you not having sex, you were going to have all these needs not met, and then you were going to want to go find them somewhere else, and all blah, 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 blah. All the programming that didn't make sense that was in my head, but was very much there. And so that started coming out with my panic. And like, I wouldn't even sleep naked for that little bit. In the beginning, it was like, nope, you don't get to see my body. You don't get to touch. I was kind of stubborn, just out of fear. And because I also have that really strong draw to be close to you. And when I feel your skin, it makes it more. So if I could put on my shields, then I wouldn't be as allured by your alluring manliness that's all yummy. I need to fix, because I keep changing with the microphone and I can hear it, but when I'm lost in thought, I can't fix it. So is that better?
Yeah, you're fine.
But wonderful things happened. Wonderful things happened. So we were still had very, very, very intimate moments. Very, like, the pressure of not having to have sex And not that it was pressure, because it wasn't pressure, but knowing that we're going to get to this point, we're going to hit this limit, then we're going to have sex, and then we're going to be done, and then go throughout the day. Like, without having sex, it allowed our intimacy and our, I feel like our desire to just build and keep building and keep building and keep building, because there wasn't the climax. There wasn't the peak and now off we go. It was a constant build, which was wonderful and also extremely challenging at times. Sometimes it was like really hard to not. But it was wonderful. So we had all of those things. And now, April is here. Mercury is, back on track. We're no longer March Madness. And I don't know, we've had sex and it's wonderful and I love it, but we aren't doing the same things that we were doing in March. And I'm already kind of like, like, I don't know. I'm not having, it's kind of a woman's dream because there's so much snuggling, there's so much connecting, there is so much conversation and intimacy. And no, we did not have sex, but we did not keep our hands off of each other. It's not like we weren't sexual with each other. We were very sexual with each other. We just didn't have sex. It wasn't the climax that would change. Like, the things that happened were so intense, and now we're having sex and we're not like, I'm like, hey, like, we still got 8 good hours of this day. We can make it work. Why? Like, what are you doing? Because the kids would be at school and we'd have hours and hours and hours of this ongoing amazing. So, yay, sex.
Yay for the sex.
Hey.
So not other than, because the intimacy that we experienced during the month of March and the depths of connection and intimacy that we experienced, if I'm not mistaken, at least from my perspective, and I'm relatively certain that you agree with me, it was beyond anything that we had experienced up to this point in our relationship.
I had no idea that
Right.
that was around the corner. And I think we've had a pretty amazing sex life.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we had those levels. And we're
deep.
We're deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're all kinds of things. We're like, that was
one of the amazing things.
So
that was one of the things that I don't think either one of us had even imagined going into this experiment or this stretch. That was one of the things that it was like, holy cow. I mean, there were plenty of times during the month where we're like, that alone was worth it.
yeah.
Right? That alone is worth the stress and we had some contention in the beginning.
Just
and
at the beginning.
Some frustration and some fear and things like that. All of that's worth it because of what it did for our connection and our intimacy and our relationship as a whole. One of the other things that I really liked that stemmed from the experience, is the depth of communication as well. And the, kind of like our new mantra in a sense where like, it's all truth. Like, we're just speaking truth now. The goal, the practice, the level of communication that you and I have and that we're going to continue moving forward with is that of 100% truth and honesty, right? Because both of us were having that same experience of, prior to the month of March, prior to this experiment, of, yes, I want to be intimate. Yes, I want to have sex. But right now, I probably, like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like ready to go, maybe I'm at a 2 or maybe I'm at a 3, right?
Yeah.
And so rather than communicate that when maybe the other person is at like a 7 or an 8 or even a 9 or a 10,
36.
Maybe they're at a 60. Rather than communicating, hey, like, I'm not really in the mood for that right now. Neither one of us was really doing that all that much. And if we did do that, we didn't really do it in the best way. Or I shouldn't say the best way, meaning that somehow it was bad, but we didn't really do it in a good, clear way, like in a truthful way, right? We did it in a hard way. We didn't speak. Anyways, that's one of the things that I really liked that has stemmed from this experiment as well, is the depth of communication and trust that we have with one another to communicate difficult things. I'm very, very excited about that. Baby, the month... Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say that was probably like one of the hardest things for me, because I knew I did that and didn't communicate it. But I said, I kind of thought it was just, it didn't occur to me that, and it's not because I thought like, oh, I'm so learning you on me all the time. No, it was just like my understanding of like, we're learning about men and women's needs more. But I thought that like, I'm trying to think if I didn't tell you no. I didn't ever, it was very much I can think of times when like I really didn't feel good. My stomach was bothering, but it just was like, I would like modify the angles. So, and it wasn't a big deal for me to do that. But then to find out that you were doing that, oh my God. I felt disgusting. I felt sick. I felt like I was a monster. I felt horrible. And then like, that was like the hardest thing. I felt like I couldn't trust anything you said. Like, cause I felt, oh my God, I felt so horrible. So I hated that. So that's big. So I'm glad we had that flesh out and then could see it from different angles. Like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know. And I also feel I'm not at a good angle. I keep my mics going in and out.
You're
I'm
totally
sorry.
fine.
I can hear it, but I don't hear it fast enough. I don't know. We got through all that. I feel like we have a connection and understanding, like you said, all truth, but to try and talk of it or speak of it, I go back to how it felt at the time, finding out that. And like, I feel like shit. I feel disgusting. I feel like, I feel like a piece of garbage, like it took my self-worth out, because I already struggle with self-worth. I already struggle with feeling like I'm good enough. But then hearing that was like, no, you actually thought that you were wanted. Like, how stupid are you? Like, I felt like the biggest joke, the biggest fool of, I sat there and convinced myself that I was actually desired. My husband wanted me, and that kind of broke my heart pretty bad. So
but
that was
you can
hard.
See it now, right?
Yes, I can. But like, that was a lot of my
struggle in the beginning, which you had to process and go through.
And I don't know. I'm feeling pretty strong right now to go back to it and talk of it, speak of it.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up.
I don't know if I really communicated that part that well. So what better than on the podcast?
Yeah, stupid.
So yeah, I'm still struggling with that. I feel very, if I think of it.
It's easy to bring it back up.
Yeah, really easy. Really easy. And I'm having like severe deja vu right now. It's like super, super intense. So what did the Matrix just change? It's pretty intense.
Can you think of what else stemmed from the month that kind of stands out for you?
Oh my God, it was so much. Like, it cleared out so much awareness. But I don't know what I can really speak to of it. Because we're not speaking of a lot. Like, we're saying, hey, this was magnificent. We reached levels of intimacy and connection and truth with each other and pleasure without an orgasm. Like, insane amount of pleasure. Like, oh my gosh, it was like, that just kept building and building, the complete like breath work. We were tantricking our way all through that. And I really I don't hate that. Ready for some more of that. But we're not getting into the details of what was uncovered,
Yes.
So I don't think I can.
Well, I think it's, I think we should clarify the only reason we're not doing that is because like, that's ours.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We share a lot on the podcast and we discuss a lot of different things, and we're going to continue to do that. We're definitely going to continue. I'm sure there's going to be episodes down the road where we share a ton of things, right? Like we always do, but there's going to definitely be things that we don't share. And I think that's understandable. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So we're not trying to like not tell people things, or we're not trying to hide things, or we're not trying to be truthful.
Maybe it'll be on next week's podcast. Ha, stay tuned. Just kidding.
But yeah, there's parts of this experiment that took place, and some of the outcomes from the experiment. And I keep calling it an experiment because I like to think that we're like mad scientists.
I'm the lab rat.
You're not the lab rat. We're the scientists together, standing there not having sex. We're like, what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. But it's ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ours. I mean, I think you described it perfectly. Just there's a level of connection that took place that we were not expecting, that we weren't even, when I say we weren't looking for it, doesn't mean that we weren't, in some way, shape, or form looking for it.
It's very much looking for it.
But also
just didn't know where to look.
Not only where to look, but also what it would look like.
Yeah.
Right? Out on a journey to find something that you don't know that you're looking for, or really what it is supposed to be that you're searching for. And then suddenly you find it and you're like, this is it. This is what we had been looking for. This is what we've been searching for. So massive, deep connection on levels that expanded and broke open into new areas that neither one of us had ever experienced before.
It was wonderful.
It was amazing.
It was.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy,
all the...
No, it was like all of that, yes. But I did enjoy when we... it was time.
When the experiment was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like... I don't feel like we're as...
Yeah.
We're not as...
We don't
have that same energy going now.
Because we're at a different spot.
Yeah, but like I kind of...
We can go right back there.
No.
Think about the last few days of our life, maybe the last, 5 or 6 days of our life. That's why we're not in that space.
True.
We're not in the space of connection and intimacy because the month of March is over and now we're never going to go back there. It's just simply because of our life right now.
Yeah, suddenly he's having orgasms and no longer has time for me again.
No, that's not the case at all. Suddenly our life has had a couple of days of some hecticness and some stress, which is super fucking normal.
Yeah.
Everyday life in the Salazar household.
Every household.
No, I think it's just us.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think we're the only ones that experience stress.
Okay.
Especially with teenagers and...
Well, maybe we should take some tips from other people then.
So what else do we want to share, babe? Anything else about the experiment that you want to share? I think if you're in a committed long-term relationship, do it. Right? Do it for a month.
I mean, do it whenever you want to.
Yeah.
And like as a woman, I don't know. You can say, I don't know, because I'm nervous about saying that. I mean, like, you can say no whenever you want. Like, I know that. We didn't have a relationship where you would pout or, I'm freaking the one that pouted when you said we shouldn't do this. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, I never felt afraid or that I was going to have, yes, I did feel like you would get your pleasure somewhere else, but that was like my own head. And honestly, whether you're having sex or not doesn't mean that that's something that won't happen. Doesn't really matter. So that was all in my head. But to say, I don't know. Like if you have it in, just try and say how you can say no if you want to in a marriage, and which you can. And if you're not feeling it, like it's not your duty and all those things, it makes it sound, oh gosh, it makes it sound like you're a prick, like you're a bad guy, you're a monster. And that's not what it is at all. Like there was never any indication of, but I also really liked the fact that I liked having sex with you after all that time too. And I didn't want to lose that. I just didn't want to go into a rut. I was terrified. And I felt like that was like the one thing I was doing right in our marriage. Like at least I had that going for me. I always wanted sex. So Like, even though I was failing at every other thing, like, at least I had that going for me. And then once that's taken away, then, wow, there's a whole lot of self-worth up in that. So to say, like, I don't know, maybe, okay, do it, but be prepared, because shit's going to get real. You're going to find some truths that you did not know were there.
I think if, prior to the month of March, I think you and I both would have said, yeah, we have a healthy sex life.
Yeah.
Because we do. And we did.
We did.
And I think we both would have said, yeah, like we are, on the same page when it comes to sex, and we talk about it, and we, experience it. And I was going to say experiment.
Well, it depends on the day.
But I think we would have said that. And I think we would have been right to say that. But I think this also highlighted a huge area that we weren't discussing, a huge area where we weren't really acknowledging even, right?
Yeah, we didn't have that much awareness of it.
Yeah. And so I think if you are in a relationship and you feel like you have a healthy sex life, if you're in a relationship and you feel like you have a terrible sex life and the relationship sexually is like strained and it's difficult, and like, I probably wouldn't recommend this experiment if that's the case.
I don't know.
Because that might be too much.
Yeah, but if it's already jacked up, then...
Yeah, but like if you're already not having sex...
then it's easy.
They're like, what are you talking about?
It's like the couch 5K. Like,
there's probably people listening that are like, yeah, me and my wife haven't had sex for 3 months. What's the big deal? And that's super
okay, so
sad.
yeah, we're not going to... There's a lot of people that aren't going to resonate with what we're talking about right now.
Maybe.
I didn't even...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
see, that's where I didn't want to be. That's why I always said yes.
Yeah. And so probably not the greatest experiment to do with your partner if you guys are in a space of discontent when it comes to your sex life.
Yeah.
But if you're in a space where you're like, we have a healthy sex life and we feel like we're doing a good job and we're communicating and we're connected and all these other kind of things, then this would probably be a good idea, I would say, to give it a shot and experiment and see what does come up and what could potentially, what this space could hold for you, because it's going to be different, obviously, than what it held for you and I, and who knows. And I also think one of the things that I want to say as well is I think a month is a good length of time, right? To say we're going to do it for 2 weeks, or say we're going to do it for a week, or whatever the case may be. Every single week that went by, we got more. We got more, we got more, we got more, right?
Yeah.
Now, we probably could have gone 2 months and gotten something else. But at the same time, I don't want to do that.
Are you sure?
I'm very, very sure.
You like to pull that stuff out of nowhere.
No, I think a month is a good amount of time to run an experiment like this. And I would highly recommend it to people who are in a committed, healthy relationship where they feel like they have kind of have all their ducks in a row and have their shit together.
Yeah.
Then try it and see what happens and see what comes up. And then tell us all about it.
Yeah. I hit a wall at 3 weeks. I think it was about 3 weeks. I thought, okay, we've got this amazing things, and I think we should have this. I think we should do this again, and I still do. I think after a few months, or I don't know when. I guess we'll know when it's right. I think we need to do it again, because the connection that builds, the things that happens, it's like our sexuality deepened. Like the things that it was better edit that out.
Your burp.
I'm giving a long pause, so you will edit this out. You will. I'm like Yoda, and you edit this out, you will. Fucker, you better.
You have a cute Yoda.
God, I don't even know what I was saying now. I'm embarrassed.
Deepened our sexuality in our relationship.
The intensity and intimacy. I'm cold. I keep trying to wrap up. But I also felt that for this amount of time that we weren't getting any more. And I like kind of sad. Like I became lonely in a sense. Like I missed you. I needed that intimacy with you. And I was done. I was really like ready for it to be done.
Yeah, the final week you were like, I'm
done. You know, I was still like respecting in your space and not saying, oh, we have to have sex. We're done now. It wasn't that, but it was like, all right, dude, whenever you're ready, I'm done. This has run its course. This leg of the race is completed. Now I'm done. And that was kind of good in what? Oh,
I was just looking at the cards again.
I thought you were moving me with the mic again. That was kind of good because that alone, an experiment was beneficial to hit that, I guess. But so much happened. And I remember you were like at the beginning, you're like, we should write about this and let each other read, like, right, what we're experiencing. And this was the beginning of the, fuck you. Like, I'm not talking. You're not seeing me naked. Oh, we're not even going to kiss. But I was so ashamed because I felt so disgusting.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't want to have sex with me. Oh, by the way, you haven't been wanting to have sex with me. I'm sorry. There's not really a lot of ways to interpret that. So I was ready to, and like, just to say that, I feel like, you idiot. Why are you with him? Like, he clearly doesn't want you. You're gross. I feel very gross. Still, that's going to be some healing that has to come out because I feel very anyways, I wish I'd have been open to it. But I don't know. Part of me, the way I'm feeling right now, is also kind of glad that I didn't.
No, I think it all played out the way it was supposed to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel gross. I don't know. We didn't change subject because now I'm kind of don't want to talk.
I forgot that I had that brilliant idea that we should each journal and then at the end of the month share those with one another. You know what's cool though?
We'd have probably read them on the podcast, huh?
What? We didn't do that. Instead, what we did was connected, communicated, expressed, shared, opened up, and did all of that in person in real time together.
Yeah.
Rather than writing about it and letting the other person read about it later on. We just shared and expressed all of that stuff in the moment with one another. So I'm really, really glad we did that in lieu of, hold on, I have to go journal about this feeling that just came up so that you can read it 3 weeks from now.
All I can think of is like if you had done that, you'd have found your journal up your ass. I'd have been like, all right. No. Yeah, I'm glad to.
Are you still journaling much?
Hit and miss.
Yeah.
Right now it's a big miss.
Big miss.
Especially because somebody recommended it. What would you say? I got your journal right here. So not right now.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. I haven't for months. I don't remember the last time I did.
You've always been more at that than I have been.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I get when I journal, I find it very difficult to just put down like the notes. I feel like I get very too detailed. Like I can't just describe. I don't even know how to like limit. I don't even know how to bring the description down enough to say it. If I'm going to talk about something that I've experienced, it's even just like a short little experience. It's not, a paragraph or a page and all these things. I have to write out in detail because I'm afraid I won't read it and feel it. I want to try and put the feeling on the paper. So it takes me forever to get through one thing. I don't like that. And then I don't like that I'm afraid of putting my heart out and having somebody that shouldn't read it, having it used against me, so I'm like, I'm just documenting these things. So I don't know. So I struggle with journaling. I do it sometimes and I do it really well. Sometimes I have to do it. Sometimes I do it on my phone and just notes because I need to get something out so much, but it's not I don't have a continuous habit of it. I'm freezing.
Do you want to grab another blanket? The wolf one's behind you.
Is it?
Yeah, reach and grab the other blanket. It is a chilly day here.
It's so cold.
Spring came, sun
And then
came
it left.
out, the flowers blossomed, and now it's April showers.
It's been raining so much.
I know.
Oh my God. I think Janelle posted something. It cracked me up so hard. It was like, what is March? In like a lion, out like a lamb. Or in like a lamb, not like a lion. It's like, it didn't do either. It's snowing. March came in like an asshole. It cracked me up.
Yeah. We had a good month, babe.
Yeah.
I'm proud of us that we did it. And I'm thankful that we did it.
Me too.
And
And
we're done talking about it. And we don't have to talk about it anymore on the podcast. It was awkward. It was hard to talk about for some reason. I think it had more to do with where we're at right now.
Yeah.
With what we're dealing with right now in our life and just the current present moment connection that you and I are experiencing. Even though we are connected, like we're not disconnected in this moment by any means. We're just processing through some difficult stuff. So that's all. And we're chilly. And we're cold.
So what are we going to talk about then? Do you want to stop talking about it because I started itching my throat?
No, I don't know what else to say about it other than I'm glad we did it. It was a wonderful experiment. I'm incredibly grateful that we had it. I'm incredibly grateful that it's over. I'm ready for all the sex. What? I'm also ready for that intimacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also ready for that connection. I'm also ready to combine both of them and experience both of them in conjunction with one another in new depths and new ways that we can integrate all of these things into our relationship now. And that's going to take time as well.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. What else has been coming up for you lately?
Well, right now, because I'm freezing and I'm uncomfortable and I'm freezing, I'm thinking about it's probably time to take another plunge in the cold.
I know. We need to get our ice bath.
Yeah. I don't think I ever talked about that I ended up doing that.
I don't think you may have.
Yeah? Oh.
Yeah. I don't remember. I can't imagine you not have.
I don't think we did.
Yeah.
I think we had that,
Because
what
we had
episode
Shelley,
was it with
Well, we
Shelley?
had Shelley on a while back. And then a few weeks, it was like a month after.
Yeah, it was at the beginning of February.
Yeah.
That I went and did it.
Do you want to talk about it?
I'll give a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid that if I already did, they're like, oh, here we go again.
Who
Why don't you
cares?
talk about firewalking some more?
Yeah, who
You
cares?
know, I do.
I thought about that too. Like we continually talk about the same shit over and over and over again on the podcast.
Do we?
To some degree.
Well, I don't want to do that. That's boring.
But we're talking about it. It's like we're talking about our lives and the experiences that we have in our lives and the things that we're interested in and the things that we go through and the things that we feel and common theme. It's totally fucking fine if you've talked about it before. It's funny that we can't remember if you've talked about it. I want to pull out my phone real quick and go back through the episodes and be like, oh yeah, that's the one that you talked about it on.
Well,
but maybe you didn't.
I don't know. I kind of feel like I didn't.
You've mentioned it, like because
Have
you
I?
mentioned it when we talked with Steven.
Was that during the podcast or was that when we were talking with him after? That was when we were talking with him after. That wasn't on the
I think
podcast.
we talked about it during.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because he talked about
He talked about wanting to go do it.
Well, this past weekend was when he went back to L.A.
Is he back?
I think he's home.
Have you talked to him?
No, not since he's gotten back. But he went back and started the process for his Wim Hof certification.
That's awesome.
I know. I'm super fucking excited for it.
You gonna go to one of us? Of course.
Well, I got big plans for him, even though I
Does
don't
he
know
not
if he
know?
realizes it quite yet.
Can I know?
I'm
What's
just
his big
excited
plans?
because he's going to be a certified Wim Hof instructor.
Uh-huh.
And I really want to integrate some of what he's doing with that in regards to like our group and potentially more.
I think you should totally.
Yeah. Like we need a men's group / Wim Hof experience combined together in that space.
I think you should do it here.
At the house?
Mm-hmm.
We could.
I think you should do it here.
We could, I
feel
suppose.
pretty strong about that. I think you should do it here.
Yeah. Well, obviously, this is like we have to talk to Steven. He's
he's
part
down.
of the.
He's down.
You know, he may.
He's down. No.
Maybe, yeah, but
I think he's down.
yeah, I got to talk to him about it and see how he benefited.
Yeah.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure it was a great fucking weekend.
Yeah.
So he's got a couple more though. I think it's 2.
He's got 2 more?
Maybe only 1 more. I don't know exactly.
I thought it was like...
No, it's a pretty long process. I think he's got to go back in the fall.
Really?
To some other event or weekend long training in order to technically be certified. As far as I know, I have no fucking idea.
Well, I hope I get the chance to talk to him more about it too, because that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll definitely be on again one day. And it's not to say that you only get to talk to him when he's on the podcast.
Kind of.
No, I'm sure he'll be here at some point.
Maybe. But then you're having a men's group and then I have to leave. So that's what I'm saying. Like when it's your group, can't hang out here.
Yeah.
So, and then when you guys are just hanging out, I can't, I'm not like hey y'all, what you doing? What you doing? Can I play? Can I hang out with you guys?
I had this really cool thought last night.
What's that?
I had to pause for a moment, and then I realized I don't need to pause. Because I was trying to decide whether or not I want to talk about this on the podcast or not.
Okay, that makes more sense now.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Okay.
No. So the training that I'm going to be going to in 2 weeks, it's for Everyman. I don't think we have talked a lot about Everyman as of late on the podcast, other than like the men's group. So the men's group that is here in Salt Lake City, it's part of a bigger organization called Everyman. If you have never heard us or me or anybody talk about this, please go and look at some of the many previous episodes on this podcast where we have discussed Everyman at length. Anyways, I'm going back east next 2 weeks and beginning the big long foundations training for Everyman, and I'm super excited for it. But this thought that I had, because I'm going to take all the gear with me, I'm going to take all the podcasting equipment with me.
Are you?
Yeah, in hopes of being able to interview some people or have some episodes recorded or something like that. And it's going to be really hard because I have no idea what to expect over the course of the weekend, and time is going to be very, very limited, and there's going to be a lot going on that I am not going to distract myself from in order to record a podcast.
Good.
However, if something does happen, I want to have the shit there so that I can do it if need be. So the thought that I had, long story short, was I'm going to set up everything and then encourage all the men that are there to come over and sit down and talk. And the topic is going to be, what the fuck are we doing in regards to some of those previous episodes that we've had about the vagina monologues and where are all the good men? What are we going to be doing? How can we do better? What do we need to be doing? Are these conversations that we need to be having, and get everybody's take? So I was thinking it would be cool to do one of those kind of episodes.
Yeah.
That, used to do all the way back in the day, where you have a bunch of people interviewed and then piece them all together. So I was thinking that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's also men that are going to be there that I want to have like 3-hour-long episodes with.
Yeah.
But I don't think that'll happen just because of time. But
yeah,
we'll see.
You never know.
Yeah. So that was the idea I had. It was a good idea, huh?
Yeah.
Have everybody who wants to, who's interested, come sit down for 5 or 10 minutes and directly speak to that topic of what do we do? What do we do when it comes to making the world safer and better for women and men, for boys and girls, right? So that people can move through this fucking experience without feeling like all of that shit.
Sorry, I keep yawning.
That's okay.
Took a lot of energy at the beginning of the conversation, and I'm sleepy.
I know. Now it's time for bed.
Night.
But we have more.
Yeah? What do we got more of? Hell. What do we got? What's more? What's next?
What's next? I don't know. What is next, babe?
I don't know.
What do you think? What do you think's next for us?
For us?
Yeah. What do you feel like's coming?
Oh, fuck.
It's inspired me with such excitement.
I love you, but I don't. I feel like I've got a what the fuck face on a little too much lately. Yeah, exactly. You just gave me that face right there. I don't know what's next. I don't know. We both have things that we have to do and are doing, and I don't fucking know. I don't know. I'm not feeling the most
optimistic right now?
I'm not. I'm kind of feeling. I'm kind of ruddy.
Yeah.
Not rut. I don't know. Maybe ruddy.
You just want a breather?
Yeah.
You want to sit
I'm kind of
down
tired.
on the bench for a minute?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Like, I have no idea. I think I'm ready for sunshine. It's a super gloomy day.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sad today. So the gloominess is not I'm ready for some sunshine. That's what's next. Sunshine. I want to experience some sunshine.
Get out in the yard.
Yes.
Mow some grass.
You mow, I rake.
Pull some weeds.
I like the feel of being outside. I like the feel of the yard. I don't like the feel of picking up dog poop. But other than that, I like to be outside. I like the way it smells. I like I don't know, you just like, it doesn't matter how much yard work you've done. Like, it doesn't matter if you've been out there pulling weeds and turns out you're like, there wasn't grass hiding under that. There was a lot of weeds. There was dirt hiding under that. And now we have bare spots in our yard. You're welcome. It doesn't matter like how long you're out there or if you're burned or whatever. It's like after you've been in the yard, after you've been outside, like you feel good. You just kind of, even if you're like sweaty and gross and, you know, you have moments of, like, I flipped out with a praying mantis at one point. I was working and I was in the bush trying to,
That makes it sound like you were in Australia.
I was in the bush, yes. That
I was
wasn't
working
Australia.
out in the bush. That also is sexual.
It was, well, you know, all these innuendos. That's what the praying mantis was doing. He was hanging out, but there was something like my face was right in the bush.
Uh-huh.
So there you go. And sometimes your eyes don't focus, and then they focused, and I was like face to face with the praying mantis. And that was it for me. That was it. I was done. Now I've got a bad experience with the praying mantis. I had one attack. So I went from
You've been attacked by a praying mantis?
Yes. Scary. Stevie and I.
What? I don't understand.
I'll tell the story. But first, like, other than that, like, I'm done. Okay. So they're so pretty and they're so cool. I love praying mantises. I love looking at them. Once upon a time, there was one that was like, sometimes, have you ever seen a brown one?
Yeah.
So usually they're green, but every once in a while you come across a brown one.
I think it's because they're like chameleons and they change.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know. I figured out it meant they were in a bad mood and aggressive. And I'll tell you why.
You just decided that?
Well, I decided that when it attacked. So picture Stevie and I. Stevie's little. And we've got one of those like Graco or like one of those like umbrella strollers.
Okay.
And she liked to put dolls in it and push them around, you know, full size. We just had them. I don't even know why we had them, because they always had one of those big strollers that you can put the car seat on, and then it turns into a stroller. But for some reason we had the umbrella ones, which really are just a death trap. You know, you put your bag on the little handle and you flip the stroller backwards. So I don't know why those exist, but we had one and she was pushing around. We got it out of the garage and there was a praying mantis on it, a brown one. And I was like, oh, look how cool. So we took it out to the front yard so we could give it a little shimmy and gentle little shake off into the grass so we didn't hurt the praying mantis. And it decided that it wanted to be on the stroller and it was unhappy with the mother and innocent child, and it was going to take our lives. So, you know, the little like hands.
Yeah.
The little thingies, they can't see me. So
the little tiny
the tiny legs at the
hands.
front. Well, it freaking started charging up the stroller. We're trying to shake it, coming at us, and its front arms were like back and forth, like
T-Rex arms.
It was T-Rex. It was like coming at us, like it was gonna karate chop us. It was like Fruit Ninja, and we're screaming and shaking it, and it won't come off. And so finally, we dropped the stroller and run, and that was it. And from then on out, we see praying mantis, and we're like, is it gonna attack? Is it gonna attack? It was scary because it was very intimidating. So
I think it quite literally
like
can't do anything to you.
Well, you weren't there. Okay. You weren't there. We almost died.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you survived the great praying mantis attack.
It was
2006,
You go-
2006.
You go ahead and make fun. You weren't there. You don't know how close it was. We barely got away with our lives. We had to abandon the stroller. I think we ended up throwing the stroller away. I think we got another one. It was intense.
That sounds about right. Yep.
It was
Praying mantis is
scary.
off the stroller. Stroller's in perfect shape, brand new. Fucking that shit's going in the garbage.
It's a good thing we didn't have blowtorch handy.
It's got praying mantis germs on it
It
now.
was scary. It was mean. So grain ones were still cautious. I don't want to hold them anymore.
You're just racist now.
I am.
Browns.
I am against brown praying mantis
mantises.
because I think I think that says they're in a really, really bad mood and they're ready to, they're going to end the world.
Well, should we close out the episode and talk about the OA? Or does the OA deserve...
How the fuck did you get there? Okay. Yeah, let's...
or does the OA deserve its whole own episode?
Oh, God.
It kind of deserves its whole
my
own
God.
episode.
Okay. Well, let's not... You make my brain hurt. That was a fast jump.
I'm sorry.
And no, it's good. Has it been out long enough that it wouldn't even be a spoiler alert?
It came out in March 21st or something like that, so probably not.
No. And if we could talk about Vox Lux for 20 minutes and we didn't enjoy that show and it was only, an hour and a half?
It was like 2 hours long.
Was it 2 hours? It was like 8,000 hours, but we could probably stretch that as a full episode then.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff.
Okay. If you guys watch the OA, spoiler alerts are coming, so you should go catch up so you know what we're talking about. And yeah.
Our anniversary's next week.
It is.
Are you excited?
Mm-hmm.
4 years.
Yes. God, it has been. It's our 4th year.
Yeah. Did you think it was less?
No.
Or did you think it was more?
More.
You thought it was less.
I don't know what I thought. I just it doesn't seem that long ago.
No, it doesn't. We
You
talked
know?
about this last week.
Yeah, we did. Our cold feet one, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so we won't rehash it. Because it's okay if we talk about things repeatedly on a podcast, but probably not back-to-back episodes.
Probably not the exact same conversation. Tell me more about the cold feet that you have.
Hey.
I like your cold feet.
Wow.
I'm
just kind of sitting in that. It wasn't
all that long ago that we got married.
Wasn't all that long ago, but I guess there were parts of our time after the cold feet, regardless of the feet temperature we were married, that I didn't really think 4 years was going to happen. So I'm oh wow, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very cool we made it.
Right?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think we definitely made it.
Did we make it?
Yeah, we're here. I feel like we crossed over that hump where both of us were probably subconsciously as well as consciously thinking oh God, are we going to make it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does sound way better like this. Go ahead. I got distracted.
You're okay.
Please keep talking. I got distracted. It's because it's uncomfortable to think about how we were both thinking we weren't going to make it.
Yeah, I think we both had those thoughts, and I think we're over that hump now.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think we're in that space where we get to really relish in our relationship, in our love, in our joy, in the commitment, in the bond, and the depths of what you and I have and get to experience now for the next 40 plus years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only took us 4 years to stop having sex.
We've been together longer than 4 years.
Yes, we have. We've been together for a while.
Well, we waited to have sex until we got married.
Can you not laugh at that so hard? You're nope, she's a whore. We had sex day one, which we didn't. Whore. I know.
I think it's so funny that people do that.
I do too. I think it's a terrible, terrible idea.
I do too.
Horrible,
There's people
detrimental.
That do it.
I know they do.
We know people that do it.
I know, and everybody's entitled to their own decisions, and that is fine. I just think that is. I think it's I don't know. I hope that it works out. But I think it's a terrible idea.
It's for people.
It is for people.
Yeah. Like some people are fans of it.
Yeah.
And it seemed to have worked for them.
How many people do you know that like have only had sex with one person, their spouse?
Well, here in
Granted,
Utah,
we are in Utah, but yeah, how many people do you like? Not just how many of them do you think really have only had sex with one person, not just claiming they've only had sex with one person?
I know quite a few people.
Really?
Yeah, but that's because we're in Utah, and it's super common here.
Well, yeah, but how many of them are like? I just think if you're going to marry somebody, you have to know if you're compatible. You have to know, like, do I really want to be married to this person? How are we sexually?
But if you've never had sex, then you don't understand the compatibility issue. And so if you're having sex for the first time and you may not be compatible sexually, you're not going to be aware of it simply because it's just going to be sex for you, right? So people that have had sex look at that and think, what are you, like nuts? Like there's legitimate, you're just not compatible sexually. Yeah. And if you've never experienced that, then you have nothing to base it off of. So I think that they would never be aware of the fact that they're not compatible sexually. They just kind of clusterfuck their way through it for the next however long until they either get compatible or never realize that they weren't compatible. And for them, that's just always what sex is.
So that's so confusing because I look at it like you have to know if you're compatible. And you're right. You have to have more than one person that you have had sexual experiences with, sexual connections with, to know if you're compatible. However, like there are those people that have met when they were kids and it just works and they stayed together. And I think that it would have been detrimental if they would have separated for time to go have sex with other people just to see if they're compatible. But on the other hand, I think that's rare. That's so rare. So you really should have. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know.
I think the answer is just like to each their own. Like if that's your thing and you're going to wait till marriage, don't look at me.
I'm sorry I had an opinion on something. None of my business.
I was just sharing my opinion. Don't pout. There's nothing wrong with your opinion. I wasn't minimizing it. I was just sharing mine.
Yes, to each their own. And I think people should know what they want in life so they're not stuck in a relationship that now, well, we're already committed 20 years. I guess we'll stay here.
I don't agree with it. It's not for me. I did not make the decision to wait till marriage to have sex. Clearly. And
look how healthy we are. Maybe there's something to it.
No.
Go ahead. Have lots of sex before marriage. You could be like us. Da, 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 da.
We're pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty awesome.
Depends on who you ask.
I know, right?
To each their own.
You could ask a lot of people that. We are pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in love with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for participating in the experiment of all experiments during the month of March. My beautiful, beautiful Stephanie.
Thank you for coming up with that. I hated it and I loved it and it'll be one of my most precious times. So thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome. Podcast out? Yeah?
Oh, well, you say it like a question a lot, so I wasn't sure if you were.
Podcast over? End of podcast episode 1-36, I believe.
I don't know what it is.
I think it's 136. Should we be done?
I think we've said podcast out like about 6 times now, so probably be a good time to wrap it up.
Stay tuned next week.
No.
When we tell you what really happened during March.
This is it. We're not talking about it anymore.
We shall never speak of this again.
And the rest is us.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love you, babe.
Love you too. It's kind of a woman's dream because there is so much snuggling, there's so much connecting, there is so much conversation and intimacy. We were tantricking our way all through that.
It was amazing. And all it took was not having sex.
Yay, sex.